Idź z matką.
Hey there, fellas! If you thought you knew everything about Magneto, think again. Beyond the magnetic battles and mutant rivalries, there's a hidden world of family ties and intriguing connections waiting to be unraveled. Prepare to dive headfirst into Magneto's family tree. From his roles as a master of magnetism to a complex parent and partner, we're about to unearth the lesser-known chapters of Magneto's life. So grab your favorite snack, settle in, and get ready to explore the branches, relationships, and untold stories that make up the remarkable family saga of the one and only Magneto. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Jacob Eisenhart, the father. Meet Jacob Eisenhart, a real-life superhero in his own right. Long before mutants rocked the comic book world, Jacob was a Jewish guy trying to keep his world from falling apart in pre-World War II Germany. Now, Jacob wasn't a mutant, but he did have a superpower: kindness. He had a heart big enough to rival the Blob's appetite, and he used it to keep his family's spirits up. With his trusty sidekicks, jokes, and humor, he battled the tension of those dark times, all while being the rock his family desperately needed. His origin story was pretty rad. After doing some soldiering during World War I and earning more medals than Wolverine has claws, Jacob settled down, got hitched, and snagged a government job. Life was humming along until those pesky Nazis showed up. Jacob lost his job quicker than you can say clobber in time. But Jacob wasn't about to let the bad guys win. He packed up his family and booked it to Poland, hoping his beloved Germany would snap out of its bigotry-induced trance. But alas, just like a never-ending crossover event, disappointment and adversity followed him at every turn. Jacob's story ended tragically in a climactic showdown when he and his family tried to escape from Warsaw. Those darn German soldiers turned on him. Shots were fired, and our hero fell, not by some supervillain's laser beam, but by the very country he once served. Edie Eisenhart, the mother. Meet Edie Eisenhart, the unsung badass of Berlin, Germany. Back when Nazis were the ultimate party poopers in the late 1930s, Edie wasn't about to let her family become extras in Hitler's horror show. Married to the valiant Jacob Eisenhart and raising their dynamic duo of Ruth and Max. Yup, the same Max who'd evolve into the magnetic mastermind Magneto. She was a mom on a mission. When those swastika-wielding goons came to power, Edie kicked her family's escape plan into high gear. Poland seemed like the ultimate hideout, but even that wasn't safe enough when the Nazi invasion bulldozed its way through. Betrayal slammed the door on their escape plan, and suddenly, our brave family was caught in the crosshairs of hate. In a gut-wrenching twist, Edie, Jacob, and Ruth faced the darkest chapter in their lives. But there was a glimmer of hope. A young Max managed to slip through the Nazis' grip, setting the stage for his legendary transformation into Magneto. Edie's story is one of heartbreak and heroism, a reminder that even when the world goes full-on dystopia, ordinary people can still stand tall against the storm. Ruth Eisenhart, the sister. Meet Ruth Eisenhart, the heroic girl who was a shadow of her big brother, Max, the legendary Magneto. It's the same story that follows her parents when Nazis were running amok in Berlin. Ruth was just a young gun caught in the crossfire of history. Her family, a bunch of Jewish badasses, decided to play a game of hide from the Nazis by shuffling off to Poland, but they were tracked even in Poland's nooks and crannies. Our heroes couldn't catch a break though. Just when they thought they'd found safety, Nazi claws closed around Ruth's family, and even though her brother Max managed to slip through their grasp like a slippery mutant eel, Ruth and the rest weren't so lucky. Did you know Ruth made her debut in New Mutants 49, popping up like a memory that tugs at your heartstrings? But she truly grabbed the spotlight in X-Men Magneto Testament issue number 1, where her story was fully fleshed out, painting a heartbreaking picture of survival and loss. Magda Eisenhart, the wife. Say hello to Magda, the heart of none other than the master of magnetism himself, Magneto. Now, Magda and Magneto's meet cute might be a mystery, but one thing's for sure, their love was incredibly intense. But they found themselves tangled up in the gnarly web of a gender-based segregated camp at Auschwitz, where the Nazis went on a cleanup spree, trying to erase all traces of Auschwitz. However, Magneto snatched Magda from the jaws of danger, and they hightailed it into the Carpathian Mountains, probably hoping for a break that felt longer than Wolverine's lifespan. Now, this power couple wasn't just about heroic escapes. They settled down, got hitched, and even had a daughter named Anya. Going further, Magneto switched his carpenter's apron for a fancy engineer's hat, and moved the fam to Vinica for a brighter future. Then one night, a fire broke out, but Magneto wasn't able to let his family down. With his newfound powers, he swooped in and saved Magda, all while Anya's cries for help echoed in the chaos. But as Magneto faced off against the police, his anger surged, and his powers went full-on berserker mode. Cops and mobs dropped like bowling pins, and that's when Magda's heart took a turn for the terrified. Witnessing this mutant maelstrom, she did what any sane person would do. She fled into the unknown. Anya Eisenhart, the daughter. Say hello to Anya Lynn Scher, the OG offspring of Magneto and his ladylove Magda. So rewind to when Magneto was just Eric Lenscher, and he and Magda were dealing with the past. Those two had braved the horrors of Nazi concentration camps during World War II. One day, fueled by sheer determination and maybe a touch of mutant power, they managed to give a Nazi guard the slip, nab his rifle, and make a run for it. Eric and Magda decided to give normal life a whirl. They tied the knot, had a kid named Anya, and thought they'd outsmarted destiny. Anya was their beacon of hope, symbolizing a fresh start in a world that had seen enough darkness. But then, one fateful night, Eric returned to a scene right out of a mutant tragedy. Flames engulfed their home, with Magda and Anya trapped inside. With a heroic magnetic field, Eric managed to save Magda from the collapsing chaos, but their daughter was still inside, her cries for help piercing the night. Despite his mighty powers, Eric was powerless against the real enemy, being labeled an enemy of the state. Police showed up, slapping handcuffs on him, and denied him the chance to save his own daughter. As the flames roared and Anya's cries echoed, all Eric and Magda could do was bear witness to their daughter's heartbreaking fate. Quicksilver, son of Magneto and Magda, the superhuman speedster Pietro Maximoff, who's so fast he makes Usain Bolt look like he's standing still, all while keeping pace with his twin sister, the Scarlet Witch. Now rewind to their origin story. Raised by gypsies, Pietro and his sis Wanda thought they had life all figured out. But turns out they were adopted and are actually the biological offspring of a woman named Magda, who vanished without a trace. And if that wasn't enough drama, their family got wiped out by angry villagers. So, what's a mutant duo to do when life gives them superpowers? They joined Magneto's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, partly out of gratitude and partly out of a need for family. But being baddies wasn't their jam, and they eventually hightailed it out of there to return to Europe, where, let's face it, the cheese is better. Now, here's where Avengers enter the scene. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch wanted to shake off their past, so they joined Earth's premier superhero squad. Pietro, a guy with enough arrogance to fill a mutant-sized ego, didn't exactly mesh with the team. His clashes with Hawkeye were like two alpha mutants vying for the spotlight. But despite the drama, they proved their worth and served up heroics for years, even if Quicksilver's impulsive antics and lightning-fast attitude sometimes made him an outsider. Lorna Dane, the daughter. Meet Lorna Dane, a mutant with powers that'll shake you up. Lorna's dad, Arnold, was a pilot who, after a bunch of years of marriage, discovered a truth. One day, Arnold's piloting a plane with his wife, Susanna, and their 3-year-old daughter, Lorna, on board. While soaring through the sky, Arnold confronts Susanna about her extramarital affair. Caught in the middle of the parental showdown, Lorna lets out a superhero-level tantrum, crying and screaming her lungs out. And suddenly, the plane, well, it disintegrates mid-air. And it's safe to say that Lorna's mutant abilities just hit the active button. She survives the crash, but her parents aren't so lucky. Enter the Magnetic Maestro himself, Magneto, who's drawn to the crash site. He finds Lorna, a mutant in need of some serious guidance and decides to give her memories a makeover with a little help from illusionist Mastermind. Lorna's past gets a major rewrite. Fast forward a bit, and Lorna's taken for a whirlwind transformation by Shi'ar agent Devon Shikari. She gets a whole new name, Polaris, and a spiffy purple costume to match. Lorna's turned into a pawn, attacking X-Men and even aiming to take out Professor X. But like any good hero's journey, she breaks free from the mind control, all thanks to a dose of Professor Xavier's psychic mojo. Scarlet Witch, daughter of Magneto and Magda. The story of Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff. The lady's got a talent for altering probability that'll make you rethink your odds of winning the lottery. Let's rewind a bit to when things were murkier. Magda pulled the disappearing act on Magneto as we know it by now. She hightailed it out of there and found refuge with a cow-like humanoid named Bova. Wanda was born on a mystical mountain that decided to gift Wanda with even more superpowers, like it was handing out mutant talent candy on Halloween, with a dash of magic thrown into her already impressive mix of abilities. Wanda was ready to rock the superhero scene. Bova, the cow-human matchmaker, hooked up Wanda with her twin bro Pietro, with Django and Maria Maximoff. These adoptive parents had faced more challenges than a mutant navigating a maze of secret identities. They were Roma, facing some serious prejudice in Transia, which led to Django turning to a life of crime. Life wasn't all sunshine and mutant powers for Wanda. She faced a traumatic event while using her abilities to defend herself, and a series of misunderstandings led to a mob torching Maximoff's cart, claiming Maria's life. Wanda and Pietro ended up orphaned, believing they were the last of their kin. But through all the ups and downs, Wanda and Pietro stuck together like Professor X and his wheelchair. Pietro took on the role of protector, guiding Wanda through the labyrinth of life. Vision, ex-son-in-law of Magneto, ex-husband of Scarlet Witch. Meet the Vision, a slick android cooked up by the villainous Ultron, designed to be an anti-creator weapon aimed right at Dr. Hank Pym. Ultron decided to call his creation the Vision of Perfection. Vision, as snazzy as his name suggests, decided he wasn't going to dance to Ultron's even tune. He gave his creator a thanks but no thanks and joined the Avengers. But little did Vision and his Avenger buddies know, Ultron had sneakily planted a control chip, turning our robo-hero into a puppet on strings. However, Vision managed to break free from Ultron's grip. Vision caught the heart eye emoji for Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. Sparks flew, hexes were cast, and before you knew it, they were married. Superheroes, they move fast even in their love lives, don't they? The couple even went on to create their own mini-Avengers, conceiving twin boys, Thomas and William, with Wanda's hex powers. Later, Vision and Wanda decided to pack their bags and join the West Coast Avengers. Rogue, potential love interest of Magneto, Anna Marie, was born into the Caldecott County chaos, where her parents Priscilla and Owen turned a fling into a hasty marriage. But Priscilla and Owen, star-crossed lovers seeking the mythical far banks, joined a commune, thinking they'd find bliss. But Priscilla pulls a Houdini act, tapping into mystical forces and vanishing into thin air. Now, our girl Anna Marie, better known as Rogue, grew up under the iron rule of her Aunt Carrie. Rogue's powers hit her like a punch to the gut, triggered by her first smooch with her first love, Cody. Enter Magneto, a mutant with a magnetic personality and a connection to Rogue that's stickier than Spider-Man's webbing. Their history is like a ride with ups and downs, and loops aplenty. Here's the one guy who can actually touch her thanks to his powers that just magically work that way. From the savage land to alternate figures, Rogue and Magneto have a romance that's more twisted than a pretzel. In the age of apocalypse, they're even married with a kid, proving that even in dystopian nightmares, love finds a way. I must say, among all of Rogue's romantic escapades, Magneto takes the crown for most complicated. Magnus, son of Magneto and Rogue, on Earth 27. Magnus, a kid from Earth 27, where being born to Magneto and Rogue, yep, both X-Men and former baddies, was a recipe for a mutant-fueled childhood. Magnus managed to have a fairly normal life, considering his mutant pedigree, but his powers were like fireworks on 4th of July, bursting with potential. He was a prodigy, even outshining his old man. In his teenage years, Magnus discovered he had a secondary mutation, and it was a doozy. It was like Rogue's powers on steroids, except it was lethal for anyone he touched. And that, my friends, had a major impact on his personality. He ended up a lone wolf, distant from his teammates and humanity at large. Magnus got tangled up in time itself and landed smack dab in the exiled desert, joined by a crew that's as diverse as Deadpool's wardrobe, including Blink, Nocturne, Morph, and Thunderbird. Magnus got a mission from the Time Broker himself. He was tasked with fixing not only his past but others as well. Armed with his know-how, a makeshift Cerebro, and a dash of courage, Magnus stepped up, sacrificed himself, and used his powers to contain a bomb's blast. Boom! He saved the day and them all. Plague, daughter of Magneto and Rogue on Earth 1043. Plague, a mutant with powers that make even her dad raise an eyebrow. Imagine this, she's a card-carrying member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, a club that sounds about as friendly as Sentinel with a hangover. Plague's mutant mojo? She controls a deadly viral army like powerful flu bugs, but Plague can whip up these viral robots and bend them to her psionic will. She decides who they infect, where they roam, and even what kind of villainous shenanigans they get up to. Plague's got a twisted family tree. In this alternate reality, she's the offspring of Magneto, who's got a resume of being a supervillain as long as Wolverine's claws. But as for her mom, that's still a mystery, like the identity of Nick Fury's barber. But Plague's not just some random mutant with a penchant for viral mischief. She's the prodigy of Peter Wisdom, a mutant who's got more tricks than Gambit's deck of cards. And let's not sugarcoat it, Plague's got a taste for evil that rivals even the worst villains in comic book history. Susanna Date, ex-girlfriend of Magneto and mother of Polaris. Meet Susanna, who is married to a pilot named Arnold. She decides to take a detour into the realm of mutant terrorism with Magneto. Now, Susanna's affair with Magneto led to a secret love child named Lorna, who'd grow up to be the X-Man known as Polaris. Further, Arnold, Susanna's husband, started suspecting something wasn't right. So during a flight to Las Vegas, Arnold confronted Susanna. And let's just say it was more explosive than Gambit's deck of cards. As if that wasn't enough, Lorna, caught in the middle of this mess, got upset. And when mutants get upset, things go boom. Lorna's dormant powers erupted like a mutant volcano, turning the plane into scrap metal. Susanna and Arnold? Well, they didn't make it out alive, leaving her an orphan. But that's not all. In an alternate reality known as the House of M, Susanna had a whole different story. She was an American student in Paris who fell for Magneto while helping his mutant resistance gang. However, Susanna returned to America, eventually passing away from cancer, leaving behind her daughter Polaris. Havoc, son-in-law of Magneto on Earth 161, husband to Polaris. Meet Alexander Summers, the younger brother of Scott. You know, Cyclops, right? Alexander's parents, Christopher and Catherine, were on a plane ride that got a not-so-friendly visit from Shi'ar's spaceship. Now, there was only one parachute, and Catherine decided that Alex and Scott, the two Summers brothers, needed it more than she did. So she strapped that parachute to Alex, pushed him out of the plane, and Scott was left to ride the Spaceship Express and got adopted by the Blanding family. And when a bully picked on Alex, his mutant powers erupted like a fireworks show. Fast forward to his X-Men days. Havoc, as he's known, found love in the mutant named Polaris, also known as Lorna Date. They weren't exactly thrilled about a life of superhero shenanigans, but they did find common ground in geophysics. That's right, they traded capes for lab coats and headed to the American West for some graduate studies. Pavel Rasputin, grandson to Magneto, son of Kid Colossus and Polaris. Pavel, a mutant with a family tree that's more intricate than Deadpool's humor. Get this, he's the grandson of none other than Magneto, thanks to his parents, Polaris and Colossus. And Pavel's got the same power package as his old man, Colossus. That's right, he's got the Metal Man mojo going on. Recently, Pavel's been duking it out with the Shockwave Riders, who are basically the newer version of X-Men foes. It's like a mutant showdown. And did you know even though he's nearly invulnerable, he can still get hurt? If he's knocked out, he turns human again. He can't change just one part of his body. His whole body transforms when he uses his power. Zaladane, alleged daughter of Magneto and Susanna Dane. Meet Zaladane, the self-proclaimed half-sister of Polaris and daughter of Magneto and Susanna. Zaladane gets wind of her sister's magnet manipulating abilities and decides, hey, why not get a piece of that mutant pie? So off she goes to the Savage Land, where she takes over the Sun People. And let's just say her leadership style is as sinister as Magneto's supervillain speeches. Human sacrifices, anyone? Yeah, it's like a villainous vacation spot. Zaladane dabbles in primitive magic, which is like adding extra spice to an already chaotic recipe. Further, Zaladane teams up with the Savage Land, mutates and scores herself the power to manipulate metal just like Daddy Magneto. But Zaladane decides to one-up everyone and captures her half-sister Polaris and absorbs Polaris's magnetic mojo while Polaris goes through a secondary mutation. And just when you thought things couldn't get any wilder, Zaladane goes all out. She nabs Magneto's powers and aims to control Earth's magnetic field. However, S.H.I.E.L.D., Rogue, Kazar, and even Magneto join forces to take on Zaladane in a showdown that's more epic than Avengers assembly scenes. And guess what? Magneto takes back his powers and defeats her like he's swatting away a pesky sentinel. Zaladane's villainous reign comes to a close. Nightcrawler, son-in-law of Magneto on Earth 2182. Kurt Wagner, aka Nightcrawler. His parents are none other than Mystique and Azazel, a warlord. And Kurt's appearance? Let's just say he's got the looks that'd make villagers mistake him for a Halloween party guest. As Mystique abandons Kurt, he's raised by Margali Sardos, who becomes his adoptive mom, raising him like a circus star. Now Kurt's past isn't all rainbows and lollipops. After a tragic incident involving his nutso brother Stefan, Kurt accidentally puts an end to the craziness by, well, accidentally killing Stefan. And the villagers? Yeah, they're quick to judge, mistaking him for a demon and giving him the kind of reception you'd expect from a town that's watched too many horror movies. But let's not forget the romantic side of Kurt's adventures. In an alternate reality, he falls head over heels for Scarlet Witch, and they even have a daughter named Nocturne. Joseph, clone of Magneto. Say hello to Joseph, a mutant with a sci-fi backstory. Astra, the mutant teleporter, had a bone to pick with none other than Magneto. She decided to hatch a revenge plan that's more elaborate than Deadpool's schemes. She kidnapped and mind-wiped Magneto and waved her magic mutant wand and restored Magneto's memories with some extra spice to the recipe. She used Magneto's DNA to cook up a new mutant dish called Joseph. But Astra didn't just stop at cooking up a new mutant. Nope, she made sure to fix the kinks in Magneto's system. You know, the ones that made him go bonkers when he got too powerful. She also decided to take away Joseph's self-preservation instincts, turning him into a reckless powerhouse. But don't underestimate the original folks. Magneto proved that experience and smarts can outdo youthful power any day. In a showdown that's more epic than Avengers vs. X-Men, Magneto pulled some moves that had Joseph wondering if he'd bitten off more than he could chew. In the end, Joseph found himself separated from Astra and smacked on the head with an engine block at warp speed. Magneto escaped like a true superhero, leaving Joseph in a memory-lost daze in the South American jungles. Alpha Creation. Magneto, the master of magnetism, decided he needed to level up his mutant game. So what does he do? He stumbles upon a long-forgotten deviant city, buried deep in the earth. Inside this hidden city, Magneto discovers some experimental goodies left behind by Maelstrom, a half-inhuman, half-deviant combo. And these goodies, they're like mutant upgrade kits on steroids. Magneto gets the bright idea to use this tech to create the ultimate mutant offspring. But Xavier and the Defenders aren't about to let Magneto play mad scientist unopposed. They step up to the plate, try to put a stop to Magneto's creation shenanigans. But guess what? The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants swoops in, and things get more chaotic. Enter Alpha, the mutant creation born from Magneto's master plan. At first, Alpha's all brawn and no brains, taking on the Hulk and teleporting like a kid with a new toy. And just when you thought things couldn't get crazier, Magneto gets a reality check from Xavier and Doctor Strange, like a tag team of heroes. And guess what? Alpha, with its awesome powers, decides to leave Earth for its own adventure. It's a space road trip. Speed, grandson to Magneto, son of Vision and Scarlet Witch. Tommy Shepard, aka Speed, This dude is so fast you'll think you're watching The Flash on turbo mode. Tommy and his bro William are the magical offspring of Vision and Scarlet Witch, which means Magneto's their grandpa. Tommy's not your average kid. He was conjured up out of thin air thanks to a lost soul and some mystical mojo. And just when you thought things couldn't get crazier, he's kidnapped by none other than Mephisto, the devilish dude from the underworld. In a twist that's more surprising than you can think of, Tommy decides to switch gears and become a hero. He joins the Young Avengers, leaving his past behind like Spider-Man leaves his everyday clothes on a skyscraper. Tommy's got some killer powers. We're talking Usain Bolt on a Red Bull overdose fast, and he can also make molecules go kaboom by vibrating them like a mutant maraca. And when he's really amped up, he's fast enough to run on water and vibrate through walls. I mean, forget teleporting, this guy's like a speedster on steroids. Tommy's not just got super speed, he's also got a dash of his uncle Quicksilver's attitude too. Wiccan, grandson to Magneto, son of Vision and Scarlet Witch. Wiccan, who's basically a mix of Scarlet Witch's powers and Magneto's family tree. So here's the scoop. Wiccan's got more power than his mom, which is saying something considering Scarlet Witch's magical mojo. This guy's not just her son though, he's a reincarnated, alternate reality pseudo-kid. Confused yet? Don't worry, you're not alone. Even the X-Men would scratch their heads at this one. Here's the breakdown. Scarlet Witch cooked up her kids in an alternate reality oven and then decided to bring them into the real world. But things got a tad messy. The kids ended up being raised by different families. Now, defining their relationship is trickier than deciphering Deadpool's punchlines. But one thing's for sure, Wiccan's got some seriously cool powers. He can pretty much do what his mom does, but with a twist. He's gotta shout out his magic words like he's auditioning for a choir. And get this, if he's got his headphones blasting and can't hear himself, his powers are on vacation. But here's where things really get wild. Wiccan's not just some magic user. He's got some major destiny mojo. He's like the chosen one, destined to rewrite magic rules and become the ultimate cosmic creator. Daya and Mistress Kia, granddaughter to Magneto on Earth 3515, daughter of Scarlet Witch. Asgard accidentally crash lands into the Big Apple, causing more chaos than the first Avengers movie. Thousands kick the bucket, and Thor and his Asgardian posse take over the joint, ruling like they're the kings of the block. Jane Foster, she of medical marvels and superhero side gigs, teams up with Scarlet Witch for a secret baby delivery, a secret baby named Daya. Jane promises to keep this little bundle of joy hidden from the Asgardian overlords. Fast forward 200 years, and humanity's pretty much forgotten freedom like it's last week's meme, except for a ragtag group of rebels who've mastered the art of not getting tagged in the Asgardian dystopia. Leading this motley crew is Mistress Kia, a mutant sorceress. Oh, and by the way, she's another daughter of the Scarlet Witch. Mistress Kia's got a plan that's more convoluted than a mutant maze. There's time-displaced Viking, Thialfi, snagging Mjolnir from a cafe after Thor's unworthiness issues. However, Mistress Kia bites the cosmic dust, and Thor's future kid steps in, hammer in hand, awakening the destroyer of gods. Now, Thor hops in the cosmic DeLorean to fix things. Yep, you guessed it. He unterribles everything, including erasing his future self and pretty much everyone else from existence. Luna, granddaughter to Magneto, daughter of Quicksilver and Crystal. Luna, the moon named Marvel. Luna's the offspring of Quicksilver and Crystal, and yeah, she was born on the moon. I mean, forget a stork. Luna's got a spaceship delivery story that's out of this world. She's the first ever kiddo born to a mutant and an inhuman. Yeah, it's like a mutant-inhuman mashup that's as rare as finding a unicorn. Now, let's get into the science stuff. You think Luna would have some crazy powers, right? But nope. Genetics threw a curveball. Instead of mutant and inhuman mojo, Luna ended up as a plain old human. Nocturne, granddaughter to Magneto on Earth 2182, daughter of Nightcrawler and Scarlet Witch. She's the love child of Nightcrawler and the Scarlet Witch. Nocturne is not just any mutant offspring. She's a member of the X-Men in a reality where Earth 2182 is her playground. Think about it. Her teammates include Wolverine, leading the pack, along with the likes of Nightcrawler, Thunderbird, Kitty Pryde, a Phoenix, Force-hosted Colossus, and the Armageddon, raised under the watchful eye of her dad, Nightcrawler. Nocturne's childhood was a swirl of mutant antics and super-powered lessons. Meanwhile, her mom, the Scarlet Witch, rocked her Avenger status while keeping the romance alive with Nightcrawler. Thanks to her unique upbringing, Nocturne didn't just sit on the mutant sidelines. Nope, she climbed the ranks faster than Spider-Man scaling a skyscraper, becoming a bona fide X-Man when she hit the right age. Imagine Nocturne side by side with her old man, battling baddies and taking names. Eric Eisenhart, paternal uncle. Eric, a jeweler with a soft spot for his nephew, Max Eisenhart. It's the 1930s and Eric is living his life in Germany, keeping an eye on young Max, who's yet to become the infamous Magneto. When Nazi-fueled anti-Semitic chaos hits the scene, Eric's alarm bells start ringing. He's got a gut feeling that trouble's afoot and urges Max's family to hightail it out of Germany before things get worse. But alas, his warnings fall on deaf ears as Max's father Jacob chooses to take the path of least resistance. After the dreaded Crystal Nacht shakes their world, the family finally makes a run for it, escaping to Poland. Now, here's where Eric's true colors shine. He's not just about gems and trinkets, he's all about empowerment. While Jacob is busy going with the flow, Eric encourages his young nephew to stand up, be bold, and fight for what's right. In the chaos of Warsaw, Eric drops some wisdom on Max, advising him not to provoke the German soldiers who've taken a young life. Why, you ask? Well, Eric knows that more harm will follow if they retaliate. Tragedy strikes as they attempt their great escape from Warsaw. Captured by the Nazis, Eric and the family face a grim fate, except for Max, who manages to survive the ordeal. And did you know, Eric's name sounds a lot like one Max adopts later on, Eric Magnus Lenscher, aka Magneto. It's a mystery whether it's just a cosmic coincidence or a heartfelt tribute to his uncle. Anya, mother-in-law. Anya, a Romani woman who kicked off her journey in the early 1900s. It's 1935 and Anya, along with her daughter Magda, lands a gig at a school in good old Nuremberg, Germany. Fast forward to the rise of the Nazi Party. As the storm clouds gather, Anya and Magda, because of their Romani roots, find themselves whisked away to Marjan detention camp. Tragedy strikes as Anya's path takes a dark turn. Sometime in the next few years, Anya meets her end in the heart-wrenching gas chambers. But the story doesn't end here. Oh no. In 1944, Magda finds herself in a Romani camp outside Auschwitz, feeling all alone in the world. She's rescued by the young student Max Eisenhart, who'd later become you-know-who. They forge a life together, filled with twists and turns. Love blossoms, vows are exchanged, and they become parents to a baby girl, Anya, named after the beloved soul who started it all. Marvelous verdict. And there you have it, the web of Magneto's family tree, filled with twists, turns, and unexpected connections, has been unveiled. From his dynamic relationships with his children, partners, and extended kin, it's clear that Magneto's life is a world woven with both love and strife. We've witnessed the impact of Magneto has had on the mutant world. Through all the battles and alliances, one thing remains undeniable. Magneto's family tree is a reflection of the complex nature of his character and the enduring legacy he leaves behind. Until next time, true believers, keep flipping those comic book pages and embracing the intricate narratives that make these characters truly iconic. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thank you all and see you next time.